580 Sports Talk is live and direct, if a little late, on a Thursday. Greetings and salutations. Thanks for being with us. If you didn't snap your radio off in anger or throw it into the bottom of a lake after that Royals finish, we are with you until 6 o'clock on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC Radio app, and on YouTube at 580 Sports Talk. However, wherever, whenever you're tuning in to the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you. We will be here until 6 o'clock. The Royals lost that game somehow, and I don't mean it was ha-ha funny, but that's the funniest way the Royals have lost a baseball game all year.
Royals 2026.
I don't mean ha-ha funny, just to be clear. I mean one of those, if I don't laugh, I'll cry kind of laughs. What's the old line? Mel Brooks. I think it's a Mel Brooks bit or joke or quote where he says, tragedy is when I cut my finger and comedy is when you fall down an open manhole and die. The Royals fell down a manhole in the ninth inning with a 3-0 lead and 2 out and nobody on. And all they got to do is get one more out against a Twins team that isn't very good. And the ninth inning happened, as it has happened to the Royals over and over and over and over again in 2026. The team's ERA in the ninth inning this year, going into today, was 7.10. I don't need to tell you that goes up when you give up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. And even if you grant that some of that is Tyler Tolbert in mop-up duty at home in a couple of games, team ERA over 7 in the ninth inning. Only 2 teams in baseball have more blown saves than the Kansas City Royals. That is their 21st today. So they are only 2 teams have been worse at saving games this season. The Tigers and the Nationals are the only teams in baseball with more blown saves. The Royals bullpen has now allowed 64 home runs. Only the bullpens of the Nationals and the Athletics have allowed more. And their bullpen ERA, only Sacramento has a worse bullpen ERA than the Kansas City Royals. 8 innings of one-hit ball for Noah Cameron, but he was at 95 pitches, so he had to come out of the game. 95 pitches, that's just too much. He can't ask more than that from a starting pitcher. 95 is just too many. Noah Cameron looked done. He looked like he was ready to be done. He didn't want to go out, try to finish the shutout. Nobody was going to push him to go out and try and finish the shutout. No. Let's turn it over to the arson squad that the Royals have turned it over to in the ninth inning all year long. Not even Steven Cruz and Alex Lang, both of whom were apparently not available today due to their recent workloads. No. Let's give Lucas Erceg a shot. Okay, great. We know how that goes. He leaves with the bases loaded, left on left, and Matt Strahm had been really good against lefties this year. Like, it's one of those, by the numbers, it's the right button to push. There aren't a lot of right buttons for Matt Quatrero to push. There's an element of sympathy here that there are no good buttons to push in that bullpen. But turns out it was the Sonic Strahm inning where when Matt Strahm gives up a home run, you get to ransack your local Sonic location. And he gave up a home run on an 0-2 pitch. An 0-2 to Cody Clemens, who is fast becoming, now that Ty France is in the other league, the most dreaded Royals opponent who's actually not that good. He hits the grand slam. The Twins go from 3-0 down to 4-0 winners. Maybe the Royals could have used a insurance run, except they got a guy thrown out at third base in the top of the ninth because they run the bases like bozos and have all season. This was the worst one. There have been a lot of bad ones. You're spoiled for choice, unfortunately, when you've lost 64 games before the calendar flips to August. There have been a lot of bad ones. That one was the worst. But I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't already know. We're going to talk a little bit more about that game. We'll talk about the good thing that did happen today, which was Noah Cameron's 8 shutout innings, and a note there that I think is interesting about the job that Cameron has done in his last 2 times out. Also, the latest trade deadline scuttlebutt regarding the Royals. We will get to some of Jeff Passan's reporting a little bit, and we'll serve as something like your Royals postgame show this hour on 580 Sports Talk. Then we've got 2 full hours after this one. We're going to dig into the Chiefs. Day 2 of full team workouts complete in St. Joe. We're going to hear from Steve Spagnuolo. We're going to hear from starting center Creed Humphrey. We'll also hear from chairman and CEO of the Chiefs, Clark Hunt. We'll play you what he had to say about the Chiefs' new stadium and new practice facility, some other insights from Clark Hunt. We'll play that for you in the 5 o'clock hour. Interesting developments at Chiefs camp today. First team reps on the offensive line for an undrafted free agent. A depth chart at nickel that pretty clearly doesn't include last year's preferred nickel. And the screen game, folks, it is so back. It has never been more back. The screen game, the vaunted Andy Reid screen game, it's back. It is so back. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And again, hear from the Chiefs defensive coordinator, starting center, and chairman and CEO. Also joining us on the program today, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. Usually Pistol joins us for the local sports spotlight in the 3 o'clock hour on Thursdays. I shot him a text this morning. Hey, Pistol, we got a Royals game. Probably aren't going to be on the air at 3:35. Do you mind being with us at 4:35? And, of course, Pistol was great about it and said that's no problem. And then here we are on the air at 3:35. Go figure. Game sucked, but at least it was short. So Rick Peterson is going to join us for the local sports spotlight at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. We'll talk a little bit about his takeaways from MIAA football media days as we get close to that month of August, and talking really intensively about ongoing practices and games for Washburn Athletics and Shawnee County High School sports. So that is coming up as well. We've also got our What Is Wrong With You July semifinals coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We've got a round of 580 Sports Talk headlines. We'll play a little either or, over under, and more. You can interact with us today. We'd love to hear from you. The text line is open. 785-272-9429 is that number. That is, again, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube channel. Name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Hop into the chat, say hello, ingratiate yourself with the regulars. Or if you're a semi-regular, say hello. They'll welcome you back. And help grow the 580 Sports Talk community with some chatter throughout the program today. Let's see who's in the chat so far today. Christopher, Mark H., we're in early. Paul as well. Good to see you guys. We've got Carl in as well. Good to see you, Carl. Walter, great to see you. Ryan is in the chat as well. Look forward to hearing from all of you and more as we go along on today's edition of 580 Sports Talk. A sampling from the text line from the 785. As soon as I saw Urseg coming into pitch, I knew they were going to lose. From the 785, Urseg should have to walk home after that or just stay up north and take up ice fishing. The Strom outcome was merely inevitable. Let's see. Christopher, the Bard. We got to let the Bard speak on the worst Royals loss of the season. Cameron was mowing kids down, but the ninth inning went to the Clowns. Urseg had a good start, but then he fell apart. Then Roger's son took Strom downtown. Carl with more thoughts on what we wanted to talk about, what we thought with 2 outs in the ninth inning, what we thought we were going to be talking about today, which was Noah Cameron's outing. Carl weighs in. Cameron played so brilliantly, they lost. I can't believe I wasted my time watching that, but Cameron was awesome. Also want to know where Daniel Lynch was in that spot. Was he down to, did they say Lynch couldn't pitch today? What was that all about?
He pitched too much last night.
Yeah, he threw 10 pitches last night.
His arm's done.
10 pitches last night, 10 pitches the night before. Yeah, like I understand there is like diminishing returns when you let a team get a look at a reliever 3 straight days. Like that is true. There's studies and stats that back that up. but not like he had a whole lot of problem getting the Twins out. And I don't know about you all listening, but I feel a lot better about Daniel Lynch against the lefty than Matt Strahm against lefty, even with Strahm's numbers legitimately being pretty good against lefties. His righties, who tune him like a piano and treat him like a home run derby pitcher, lefties, he'd been pretty good. And he got ahead 0-2 on Clemens, and Clemens was way late on a middle sinker on the 0-1 pitch. And Matt Strahm, in his infinite wisdom, decides to do the thing that even I, as a rank amateur, the only level I ever achieved as a pitcher, the thing I even know you don't do. The guy's late, you don't speed up their bat. If they're late on your fastball, you don't throw them a freaking slider middle down on the next pitch for them to crush over the big wall in right center field for a walk-off. They call it an ultimate grand slam. That's kind of a new thing, I guess, the terminology. A grand slam that takes you from a losing position to a win, from down 3 to a 1-run win. They call that an ultimate grand slam.
Never heard that.
Yeah, that's a fairly new bit of terminology on me. I saw Christopher and others throwing it around in the live chat. Christopher also points out Steven Cruz threw a whopping 6 pitches last night. Yeah, couldn't possibly use him in that save situation. You know what it probably was? Probably thinking, you know what? Good clean ninth inning for Urseg. Or Strahm comes in a situational spot. We can build their trade value. We can build a little trade value for these guys.
Hey,
I wouldn't trade a ham sandwich for Matt Strahm.
Strahm was 1 strike away.
So was Urseg.
That's true.
Twice. He was 1 strike away twice. He was 1 strike away on Lewis, and Lewis got that chintzy little hit up the middle. He's 0-2 on Josh Bell, and then doesn't throw him another strike. 3 times. 3 of the last 4 hitters. Royals had 2 strike counts. Twice it was an 0-2 count. How are you that bad? How are you that bad? And it is such stark contrast to the 8 innings of brilliant pitching that Noah Cameron submitted in his start. Cameron following up what was an excellent outing in a bulk role against the Tigers earlier on this trip, where he threw 7 innings of 2-hit ball with 8 strikeouts. Today, it was 8 innings of 1-run ball for Cameron, and I believe it was, I'm double-checking, going to bring up the box, I think it was 5 strikeouts. Oh, it was 7. It was 7 strikeouts. So 15 strikeouts over 15 innings, only 3 hits allowed in the last 2 starts for Noah Cameron. And maybe you've read this, or maybe you have watched the games and noticed it, because it's fairly obvious. But one big change for Noah Cameron from what has been a disappointing follow-up to his promising rookie season of 2025, at least when you look at the surface numbers. Noah Cameron's calling his own pitches. Noah Cameron's out there going Seth Lugo. He's got the, what do they call it, the pitch comm on his belt. He's pushing the buttons, and he's calling his own game. He did that against Detroit. He did that again today, and it's his 2 best outings of the season. Probably not a coincidence. And I don't know if maybe that's the Carter Jensen being out of sync with him, or Salvador Perez being out of sync with Cameron, or maybe that's just Cameron being a little bit type A and wanting a little bit more control of his own situation, which is, you know, some pitchers like that. Seth Lugo does it. Usually it's a veteran, right? Like Seth Lugo's been in the game 10-plus years. You kind of earn the right to say, I want to call my own pitches. That's the kind of thing you have to earn. And Noah Cameron wanting to do it, the Royals letting him do it, and Cameron succeeding with it. I still, and I know this is a wild thing, it's going to sound like a wild thing to say, given what we just saw tonight in the 9th inning from Lucas Urseg and Matt Strahm, what we've seen in the 9th inning throughout the year, what we've seen from that bullpen throughout the year. I still think the Royals, more often than not, get the most out of their pitchers. I think you can say that most definitely about their starting pitchers. I mean, if you watched Randy Dobnak the night before, Dobnak, first big league win in 5 years, by the way, which was very cool. There are rays of sunshine even in the cloudiest seasons.
It's kind of crazy. You get a person to a player to a different place, different scenario.
Randy Dobnak is tied for 6th in wins above replacement for the Royals this season.
It's just crazy
in
news.
5 games. 5 games in 26 innings. But, if we're being honest, Randy Dobnak should not be in the major leagues. Randy Dobnak, coming into this year, had pitched 6 major league games over the last 2 seasons. And before that, hadn't pitched in the bigs for the intervening 2 seasons prior to the year in which he earned his last big league win, which was 2021. That win was his only win that year. He's 1-7 with an ERA of 7.5. So this is the fringiest big leaguer that you can possibly think of. They don't get any fringier than Randy Dobnak. They don't get more replacement level than Randy Dobnak.
He's also a D2 guy.
Alderson Broaddus, West Virginia.
No longer a school.
Former Uber driver.
No longer a school.
Randy Dobnak in 26 innings has a 1.04 earned run average. And look, the peripherals do not support it. There is absolutely regression coming for Randy Dobnak, but even some of his peripheral numbers suggest that, he's not 1.04 ERA good, but he is pitching effectively. He is pitching like you would want a back-of-the-rotation guy to pitch. And, I think that's still a credit. I think there are a lot of things you look at from a starting pitching perspective over this year, and certainly the previous 2 years was a lot easier to see because the team was winning. I still think that Brian Sweeney and the Royals pitching development do a largely good job. I don't know what in the world happened to the bullpen this year. That's their purview too. That's as much a demerit as the credit they might get for whatever credit you want to give them for 26 good innings out of Randy Dobnak, or a little bounce back here from Noah Cameron in recent days, and the general success of a guy like Cameron, who by no means was guaranteed to be a steady contributor to a big league rotation, and he is that. And there's credit obviously there for Sweeney and the staff as well. But I still think broadly they do a pretty good job. I just don't understand, and I don't know, maybe it's less about a pitching coach and more about a shrink that needs to figure out what went wrong with this Royals bullpen. But that is atrocious. To have an ERA over 7 in the ninth, to have 21 blown saves. Do you realize the Royals are probably one good relief pitcher away from being in the wild card hunt? That's all it would take. If they had one. And okay, you want to say, Daniel Lynch. Okay, one more. If they had one more, don't you think that would have been worth 5 or 6 more wins? And then if they had 6 more wins, 21 blown saves, let's give them 6. Not even half. Let's give them half a dozen. Let's give him some of the more egregious ones, like today.
Yeah.
Let's give him 6. 6 additional wins right now. They'd have been, going into today, they would be right now 3 games out of a wild card. 3 games!
That is crazy.
We're talking about them as buyers. Here's Minnesota now. They're a 500 team. That's not a good team. Flatly.
No.
What Randy Dobnak and Noah Cameron did to them over the last 2 days, that lineup is not good. They got 2 good starting pitchers. Their bullpen was pretty terrible until having a good month this year. That's not a good team. But now they're going to go by, right? Because they're a 500 team. And the Royals would be knocking on the door for the one of one more good reliever. That's it. Just one. Just one. Just one to solidify the 9th inning. And a bunch of guys with track records that suggested they could do it have emphatically not done it. And the end result today is... I think I'm going to go ahead and call that one the worst loss of the season. It's going to be really hard to beat, but they got 2 months left after this to try. We'll take a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, the latest from ESPN's Jeff Passan about how the Royals might approach the trade deadline and why I am more and more not agreeing with how the Royals might approach the trade deadline, at least how it's being reported. That's coming up next here on 580 Sports Talk. .348 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you. We've got a lot more show still to come, joining you midway through this 3 o'clock hour after Royals baseball. Got plenty of Chiefs training camp tidbits to get to coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Top of the 4 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo and center Creed Humphrey. We'll also hear what Chairman and CEO Clark Hunt had to say coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Rick Peterson of TopSports.news will join us at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour on today's show. I'm going to give you some names, Spencer. Jeff Montgomery, Scott Service, Alvin Mormon, Jose Santiago, Matt Wisenant, Tim Burdack, Terry Matthews. You know Jeff Montgomery. Do you know any of those? Ever hear of any of those other guys?
Terry guy sounds familiar.
It shouldn't. That's maybe the least familiar I am with any of the guys on this.
Repeat the
list.
last three again.
Terry Matthews, Tim Burdack. Let's see who else we got here. Matt Wisenant.
Yeah, definitely no.
So those gentlemen were members of the Royals bullpen in 1999. Randy Gisarelli on X just posted about the 1999 Royals bullpen. And for those who don't know, and I didn't know this, this is painful, like to read and learn about. You know how like the 2014-15 Royals, they got a lead after 6 innings and they never lost?
Yeah.
The Royals had a winning record after 6 innings in 1999. As a team, they had a winning record. And they led more often than not after 6 innings in 1999. Would you care to guess what their final record was?
58 and something.
Better than that, but not by much. They were 64-97.
Oh, my gosh.
With a winning record after 6, they won 64 games. Jeff Montgomery is one of the great relievers in Royals history. He was totally washed in 1999. 6.84 ERA. Scott Service led the team in appearances with 68.
Was that his last year?
Scott Service?
Monty,
I think it was.
Yeah.
He might have tried to kick around in 2000 with somebody, maybe tried to make a team, but no, 1999 was the final year of his big league career. Scott Service led the team in appearances, had an ERA over 6. Jose Santiago struck out 15 batters in 47 1/3 innings in the steroid era. Yeah, man, that's pretty bad. Randy Gisarelli posted that, said that to say that he thinks this Royals bullpen might be the worst of all time, even in comparison to that one. So sorry to bring up some bad memories. Anyhow, trade deadline is Monday. Still not a lot happening on that front. Jeff Passan of ESPN.com posted an article what he thinks all 30 teams will do at the trade deadline. Here's what he had to say about the Royals. Quote, unless Kansas City's tack changes, it will hold on to Michael Wacha and fellow starter Seth Lugo. Outfielder Lane Thomas will get moved to a contender. The Royals will seek a John Schreiber landing spot. Anything else is a matter of their appetite to yield team control, because if they do, Daniel Lynch would join the top tier of available left-handed relievers. The Royals don't want to rebuild. They believe in their core of Bobby Witt Jr., Jack Caglione, Michael Garcia, Carter Jensen, and Vinny Pasquantino. Complementing it with pitching is the goal, but it's one this deadline will struggle to supply. Limited inventory and limited quality tend to equal limited return, which is exactly why they need to trade Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
And the other part of why they need to do that, because at first I understood it, right? Like from the perspective of who is going to start for you in 2027. Who? If you trade both guys, you go into 2027 with guys with returning health. It's Noah Cameron and it's Luinder Avila, and that's it. Everybody else is either a health question mark or a free agent, right? Like Reagans is going to miss at least half the season. Bergert will be coming off of Tommy John. Stephen Kolek might need Tommy John. Ben Kaderna's coming off of Tommy John. Like you're not exactly spoiled for choice. I guess you keep Randy Dobnak around. At this point, you may as well. But that's it. That's it as far as guys who started games. So you're in a really hard position if you're the Royals and you trade those guys because you can at least count on them to take the ball for you every 5 days. And Wacha was an all-star this year. And you're going to need reliable starting pitching if you want to be any good in 2027. But I was reading a piece over at Royals Review today, Jeremy Greco at Royals Review, talking about guys who are going to be free agents going into 2027. And yes, the caveat with any discussion about the 2027 season is let's pretend it happens. There are some interesting names out there, like genuinely interesting names that are probably going to sign for similar dollar figures that Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo will play under next year. Veteran guys like Kevin Gausman from the Blue Jays. Clay Holmes, who's had an injury-plagued year, but not like an arm injury, broke his leg. Clay Holmes for the Mets. Robbie Ray from the Giants has won a Cy Young. Shota Imanaga from the Cubs is going to be a free agent. Brady Singer, old friend.
Old friend alert.
He'll be a free agent. Trevor Rogers hasn't been as good this year, but was good in 2025. He's not yet 30. There are a handful of other guys where I think that if you went ahead and pocketed the money, if you're willing to trade Wacha and Lugo right now and then decide we are going to reinvest in the pitching rotation in the free agent market next offseason, we're going to take the $21.5 million we owe Seth Lugo for next season and the $14 million we owe Michael Wacha. Wacha's a bargain on $14 million, if we're being honest. He's a bargain on $14 million for next year. We're going to take that money, that $35 million, and we'll hand it out to two other veterans. We'll give it to Gausman and Holmes and probably get as good of performance as you would from Wacha and Lugo. And I know there's the comfort level of guys who, you know them, they know you know they want to be here, they're good teammates, good clubhouse guys, all those things. I understand that. But it's not just, okay, you're deciding to move on from Wacha and Lugo and you're adding in the free agent pool. You're moving on from Wacha and Lugo and you're also acquiring and adding to your still kind of moribund farm system some pieces that can help you. Maybe help you win in the future, maybe even the near future if you play your cards right. So the idea that the Royals just going to say, you know what, we got it. We got to keep these guys. We have to keep. If that is their attitude that they have to keep Wacha and Lugo, they're wrong. They're wrong. And that would be a real opportunity cost, much like it ended up being last year when Lugo was probably at the height of his value and the Royals decided to sign him to an extension instead. And it made sense. Like, you could make that make sense. But in retrospect, Lugo hasn't been the same pitcher since he signed that extension.
I have an idea here, and this is just me throwing darts at the wall of when you read what the writing is on the wall. So this guy is forgotten. This guy is rehabbing in the Royals organization. He is a Kansas native. He is 31. John Means. He signed a 2-year minor league deal with the Royals, and I think if I read things correctly, 1 was to rehab this year, and 2 to try to make the team next year.
Yes.
So that's what they're, in my opinion, the Royals are we know this. They're not going to go out and spend money. So they're going to try and see if he can be a starting pitcher for the team. As number 5.
I don't disagree with you. The flip side is they tried that with Kyle Wright. And how many innings did Kyle Wright pitch as a Kansas City Royal?
0.
I
know. I'm just saying. I think that might be a way they go into 2027.
Yeah, he is a guy who organizationally is there that you kind of overlook, kind of like we overlooked Kyle Wright a couple of years ago. We were right to do that. It turned out, but yes, no, that's a valid point. That's a valid point that you bring him up.
The Royals don't like to spend money on pitching, so it's clear.
Well, no, they spent money on Walker and Lugo, right? They spent pretty good money on him. They extended.
If they keep
Reagan,
those guys, and
are they going to reinvest?
Yeah,
like if they trade them, will they reinvest? And like, honestly, who knows? Maybe John Sherman just pockets the money. From the 785 to wrap up the thought in the hour here, I realize as a team, you can't fool me into thinking there's not a certain amount of dissent in the clubhouse on the starting pitchers doing as they do just to watch it get wasted come late in the game. And you can blame the batters as well, not coming through on the runners in scoring position. Worst loss of the season today. Feel bad for Noah Cameron. The 2024 team made the postseason, I believe, in large part because that was such a confident team and showed up to the ballpark every day believing that they were going to get 6 quality innings from their starting pitcher and have a chance to win. Every day, didn't matter if they lost the day before, they knew showing up the next day that they had a chance to win. And I do think that a big part of the reason this team has gone sideways and is in the basement of the Central this year, it's not just the underperformance of the bullpen, it's the fact that does permeate. If you feel like no lead is big enough, that no lead is safe, that you don't even have the confidence you're going to win a game until the final out is recorded, that is a massive mental strain. Massive. So, yes, I do think there is something to that idea. Maybe it's not dissension in the clubhouse, but certainly a lack of confidence comes into play with these Royals. We'll take a break for the top of the hour. Coming back in the 4 o'clock hour with some Chiefs talk. It's training camp day number 2. We'll hear from Spags and Creed, plus Rick Peterson coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. First full hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC Radio app, and on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. It's nice to be with you. Got lots of football coming up in the final 2 hours of the program today. We are with you until 6 o'clock. We're going to talk Chiefs camp this hour. Couple of interesting notes from the second day of full team workouts. Steve Spagnuolo addressed the media for the first time at camp. We'll hear from Spags. Also, we'll hear from Creed Humphrey, the Chiefs starting center, with some high praise for a young guy who worked in quite a bit with the ones today. We'll discuss that here in just a little bit. Also, in the 5 o'clock hour, Chiefs chairman and CEO Clark Hunt spoke with the media earlier today. We'll play his comments as he spoke in some more depth about the new stadium and the Chiefs' readiness to host major events at said new stadium when it is complete, and also thoughts on the future of Chiefs training camp as well. So we'll hear from Clark Hunt coming up a little bit in the 5 o'clock hour. Coming up this hour, in addition to some Chiefs talk, we've got our July semifinals on What Is Wrong With You.
A solid month.
5 strong stories. 5 really strong stories that will be competing today. We'll have a play-in with the short week winners, and we'll get down to 2. We'll get from 5 down to 2 and have our July championship tomorrow. Also this hour, Rick Peterson of TopSports.news will join us for the local sports spotlight. Looking forward to talking to Pistol about Washburn University athletics and Shawnee County High School sports. That's coming up again at the bottom of this hour. You can weigh in on any of the topics that we discussed on the program today on the text line. Text line is open, 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the live chat on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Some good chat going on about the grim future of the Kansas City Royals pitching rotation.
Grim.
Just to give you an idea, the grim short-term outlook, and why the Royals want to keep Michael Watkins, Seth Lugo, because those guys are under contract for next year and for the moment are healthy. So is Noah Cameron. He's got team control for 4 more years, maybe even 5, depending on if he's a Super 2. I haven't looked that up. Cameron's outing today will almost surely get him back into the black as far as wins above replacement. He was below replacement level on the year going into today. So you have Luinder Avila, who, again, I think long-term probably a reliever, but has started 11 games this year. Stephen Kolek, last word on Stephen Kolek was probably needs surgery. And if it's a flexor tendon and they probably need surgery, that surgery has a name, and its name is Tommy John. So Stephen Kolek, won't be seeing him for a while. Cole Reagans, won't be seeing him for a while. Already had Tommy John surgery. Chris Bubich, I guess, is going through some throwing progression. He's already been through it twice since he went on the IL after his first 9 starts and hasn't yet returned, but it may be immaterial as far as Bubich goes, because he is a free agent going into next season. Let's see who else is there. Remember Alec Marsh?
Yeah.
Hasn't pitched in the big leagues in 2 years. He's coming off of labrum surgery, but he's still in the organization, much like John Means, rehabbing this year with the understanding that he would not pitch in the hope that he could maybe compete for a job in spring training next year. So add them to the list. Ryan Bergert had early Tommy John surgery back in April. So looking at a timeline for him, maybe early next season, he could be around. Ben Caderna, same deal. He got to the high minors, and his elbow blew up. So he's not really a viable option. He's on the 40-man. They could move him to the 60-day. If they could promote him and move him to the 60-day. Same with Bergert if they needed a 40-man spot. But they're going to be shedding 40-man spots more likely with trades coming up. That's about it. Organizationally speaking, there's nobody really at AAA that lights your fire much. So, yeah, Carl asked in the YouTube chat, like, who's going to be the number 1 for the Royals next year? I don't know, brother, but it's not going to be somebody as good as we know Cole Reagans can be when he's healthy and he's out there as the number 1. So number one might be a number one by default. Like the Royals are probably not going to be able to go out. Like they're not going to go get Michael. They're not going to go get Skubal. They're not going to go get Michael King. There are going to be some pretty expensive guys out there on the market that they're probably not going to be able to afford.
I'm just confused with the Royals thinking. Like, did they just draft bad? Is that the problem? Like,
a lot of years of bad drafting and bad development. Like, and you don't. It takes half decade at least to get caught up, and that's kind of where the Royals are right now. Like the pitching development staff has only been around since year 4. The new front office year 4 of we say new, but there's some new faces. But J.J. Piccolo served under Dayton Moore for all those years, so it's new in some places. It's not new in others. Maybe it needs to be new in more places. I know a lot of fans would agitate for that, but they got behind, and it's hard to catch up. And they haven't drafted well enough. They didn't draft well enough when they were drafting high in the draft to get caught up. And then the last couple of years, they haven't been drafting quite as high in the draft because they had winning seasons. And we'll see. Like, we're a ways away. Like, there are guys in the minor leagues right now that are really worth getting excited about. Like
the last couple of years.
Kendry Chourio, I am turbo psyched. I will buy any and all Kendry Chourio stock you want to send me. He is also 19 years old. Like, that is not somebody, as good as it looks for him in A-ball right now, like, that's not somebody who's going to start games for you in 2027. David Shields isn't going to start for you in 2027. Michael Lombardi, probably not. Like, you're still a year or two away from, like, best case scenario, these guys starting to come good. So I guess that answers your question is things are better than they were. They really fell behind. And it's hard to...
Clearly.
It's hard to build back. And the other thing that happened, too, they accidentally made the playoffs in 2024 because I think they went into that year. I mean, they signed Walker and Lugo, and they certainly didn't want to lose 106 games again. But I think they looked at those signings and, hey, if best case scenario, maybe they can help us go to the playoffs. But if they don't, like if the Royals have just been like a 70-odd win team that year, maybe you trade those guys, and maybe the farm system looks a lot stronger right now. Of course, then maybe you would not have gotten to go to a couple of playoff games at Kauffman Stadium in 2024, and I think that's a more enjoyable experience than if they had won 76 games and traded a bunch of those guys in July.
Yeah.
So, like, it is what it is. It's there's good and there's bad with it. But the short answer to your question is yes, they drafted poorly, they developed poorly. They've had somebody different in charge of the draft the last 4 years. They've had some different people in charge of pitching development the last 4 years. That's why you've seen some better results, but it's still going to take a while to see like the really good stuff start to come through. Like, you're talking probably 2028 for a guy like Kendry Chourio. And I think he's going to be awesome. Like I said, I'm so excited for this kid. 19, throws nothing but strikes and hits 98 with his fastball. Like, I'm really excited. But he's 19, right? So it's got to wait. Text from the 785 asks, well, what about Dan Lucero walking on and trying out for the rotation next year? I still think I've got some life in my arm, although I think it would probably take me pitch number 1 to find out that was misguided. That I don't know if I can spin it like I used to. I still got the good changeup. I got that Johan Santana changeup from the left side. I just don't know if I can spin it like I used to. Also, I never threw a fastball in my life that would have gotten a speeding ticket on I-70. Let's just say that. Unless, maybe an over-officious cop would have written you a ticket for going 9 over the speed limit, but I've never gotten a ticket for going 9 over the speed limit. That's the joke. I topped out at 84. That's the joke. Anyhow. Let's talk some Chiefs, shall we? A much happier topic of discussion.
Yeah, we've gotten to this point in the year. Let's do it.
Royals optimism will have to wait until if we can muster it and if there's a season, February 2027. Let's get some Chiefs optimism, right? Much easier to come up with. Few fascinating notes, at least I thought they were fascinating, from day 2 of camp today. You're going to hear from Steve Spagnuolo here in just a little bit. And he mentions that Shamari Connor's role is going to look different this year. Notably, he refers to him as a nickel as something the Chiefs are only going to do in a pinch or can do in a pinch, which means he is not your primary option at nickel. And that was the worst the Chiefs defense looked last year when they played Connor in that nickel role, and now they're spoiled for choice. They've got a guy like Kader Kohu who can play there, a veteran. They've got Jaden Kennedy, who they drafted with some versatility to potentially play there. And, they have a guy who was an all-pro for them who knows the Spag scheme and can play a little bit of that spot in L'Jarius Sneed. And it really seems through the first 2 days of practice like they think Sneed, if he's healthy, can start for them. And the only reason I think that could be an overreaction is maybe they're just making sure he gets all his work in with the ones early so they can get him off the field and manage the knee. But I don't think they'd work him this much with the ones if they didn't see him as maybe their best option, either on the outside or at nickel. And if you followed this team for any amount of time, how much Spags trusts him matters. Like, that's a trait that really matters. Do you have the trust of Steve Spagnuolo when you're putting a starting lineup together? And L'Jarius Sneed has that trust. He also has, like, the Capicolo where his knee ligaments should be. Like, there's a whole Italian sub in there worth of with deli meats instead of ligaments. But, like, if he can be out there and the Chiefs can manage it, I think they view him as somebody who can start. And the other part of the reason I think they might view him that way is because he's a veteran. And it's transitioning to being, outside of Alohi Gilman, a very young secondary. Connor's still on his first contract. Noel Williams year 2. Mansour Delane, a rookie. Like, having another veteran voice on the field would certainly be helpful. And so, I mean, it's a gamble because, again, I don't think you can really trust Sneed's health. But I think if he can get to week 1 healthy, I think he starts at the top of the depth chart, it feels like. Notably, after not getting the first team reps day 1, Mansour Delane was out there with the starters for the majority of today. It was Delane on one side and Noel Williams on the other. Interesting things from the offense today. We'll hear Creed Humphrey talk about Khalil Benson, the undrafted free agent rookie out of Indiana. He ran with the ones almost all day at right tackle. Again, I don't think that's something you do if you've got an established, entrenched right tackle you feel really good about. Now, again, conflicting reports here. I saw some people suggest maybe it wasn't a great day for Benson, that he looked like an undrafted free agent out there at right tackle. But the fact he's getting the opportunity at all speaks to how far he's come and how much the Chiefs think they might have a diamond in the rough here. And the other takeaway from today, the play that everyone was talking about, Kenneth Walker housed a screen pass for a touchdown. Apparently, Mahomes was so excited about it, you could hear him yelling about it from the stands. Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic, who covered the Los Angeles Rams for a while, so has some familiarity with Walker's game, having covered the NFC West, and she's now a NFL at-large staff writer over at The Athletic. She posted this to X earlier today. Walker in Reed's screen game is among the schematic items I'm most excited to see. Walker is such an artistic screen runner, and Kubiak had some very cool stuff for him last season, plus a relatively high explosive play rate. Kubiak being the former Seahawks offensive coordinator, now Raiders head coach, Clint Kubiak. I love that word to describe Walker, an artistic screen runner. Like, because he's a patient runner. He when he ran, everybody in the Super Bowl was comparing him, when they were watching the Super Bowl, said, oh, gosh, he's running like Le'Veon Bell, right?
Yeah.
A little stand up behind the line. Like, he is that kind of patient and has that kind of vision in the screen game, and that's how you can do more with those plays than a guy like Isaiah Pacheco ever could, or a guy like Rashard Smith did last year when they tried to run him. His ability to make something out of the plays. Andy Reid didn't forget how to design a screen pass. I'm pretty certain. Now he's going to have a guy who can run it. And I think that Kenneth Walker could have a very big impact in the passing game. And it sounds like they're already trying out that particular toy early on in camp. From the offense, back to the defense. I mentioned defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo spoke today. Here's what Spags had to say, his first media availability of training camp.
Good to see everybody. I'm always excited to be at training camp because I actually like coming away and doing this thing and sleeping in a dorm. So good to be here. But with that, I'll let it open up and let you guys fire away.
Lloyd Gilman spoke with us yesterday, and can you kind of elaborate what he's meant so far to the defense and what you've seen from him?
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen a change from the OTA practices to now. I was in the red zone today. Noah Williams made a really big play, and I saw Gil go right over, congratulate him, want to do a little dance. I mean, just something that little showed me what he's all about. He's a cerebral player. I mean, that's what we thought when we got him here, and hopefully he'll be that, going forward.
Is he what's playing Shamari this year?
Yeah. We haven't, if you've watched OTAs, he hasn't played as much nickel. He's played more safety, but that's really to get some of the other guys ready. I think we can always put him back there in a pinch, but this gives him a little bit more time deep that he didn't have last year. So I think he's going to I think we'll still have some flexibility with him at both positions.
Steve, what have you seen from Mansour so far? And I just wonder how typical of it rookie progression is, maybe getting beat.
Sam, you probably took the words right out of my mouth. Listen, with all these rookies, it's a process, right? He's going through, let's call it stage 3. First he did rookie minicamp where he was just around rookies. Then the vets came in for some OTAs, but, it's pajama football, right? And now we're about to get in the training camp where it gets real. I've seen him kind of progress. I mean, he early on in the rookie training camp here, he needed a little bit of time to get his legs underneath him. He had the shoulder deal, so I'm sure he wasn't able to do as much as he would normally do in the offseason. So, but I like the way he's interacting with the guys.
Another guy, Ashton Delay, we saw playing a little bit, maybe on the line.
We're experimenting with a bunch of things. We'll do that with him, Coop, some of the D. Unfortunately, we know Ethan Downs got hurt, but he was another guy. I'd like to be able to see if there's anybody in the D-line group that can do other things. Just like you remember, we would take Leo and put him with the D-line once in a while. So this is part of the finding the versatility in guys.
How's the middle retention going from the rookie training camp to the guys, and also Jaden Hicks? What do you need to see from him?
Yeah, talk about the young guys going from the rookie. I thought the young guys did I thought we put a lot of volume in the rookie those 3 days on purpose, so that when they got it a second time here with the vets, it would sink in a little bit, and I think that's happening. You asked about, listen, Jaden, the one thing, Jaden played a lot of different spots last year. I told him back in the OTAs, I'd like to find one that he can just hone in on and master that while we experiment with some of the other guys. But he is a guy that we had a little versatility with a year ago or the last 2 years. That won't change. We'll just find out where he's going to get slotted in.
How do you feel like L'Jarius Sneed will fit into the mix?
Yeah. Listen, you know how I feel about him. He's it's like having the sun come back, right? Now you guys know he's in the ramp up. He hasn't really been out there, but when you see him just in the jog throughs that we do against ourselves, I mean, you can see it's coming back. He's excited. I love the way LJ, Nick, Drew, Chamari, I love the way they interact. They were together for those number of years when we were playing really well. So hopefully we can find that same ingredient.
Could you talk a little bit about the competition to start opposite George at the other edge spot?
Yeah, I think they're all going to compete in there. Listen, our Mason has done some really good things, but he's in the rookie process. Ashton's in the second year, and he looks like a guy that's made some steps in the second year. It's not all new to him like it was a year ago. And then getting Felix back has been pretty important, especially with the fact that Ethan got dinged. Just in my mind, Felix made one really good play today in the run game. And let's hope he can do that, right? Get over the injury issues and be a factor for us.
Last one, Sam.
Chris Rowland-Wallace is a guy that impressed you as an undrafted guy when he came here a couple of years ago. What did you see in his progression?
It's funny, Sam, so last night when I had the unit, we got a lot of bodies out there, and there's some guys that are like third and fourth on the depth chart when you put it up. And I said, don't ever worry about that. And I used Chris Rowland-Wallace as an example. When he came here 3 years ago, whatever it was, he was buried in the depth chart, and we didn't really know where to fit him. And then he just chipped away, and now he's out there playing with the first group. So real happy with what he's doing. He's a smart football player. It's really important to him.
Thank you, Coach.
We good? Yeah, thanks. Stay dry.
That was Steve Spagnuolo. Let's flip back to the offensive side of the ball. Creed Humphrey spoke to the media after practice today in St. Joe. Here's Creed.
The addition of Walker, and it looks like there's going to be more of a commitment to the run game. How happy does that make you as an interior offensive lineman?
Yeah, really excited. Really excited about K9. He's a dynamic player, freak athlete, great with his reads, everything like that. So we're really excited to get him in there and start working with him.
How do you look at Creed to get the screen game to be back to being a more dynamic part of the offense and getting that rhythm with him?
Yeah, I think it's just focusing on the details in practice, locking down exactly what we need to do, exactly what we're trying to accomplish with each screen, and really just get the reps with the backs, the new backs, and everybody just to get that cohesion.
Everybody says that based on the offensive scheme the last few years that you guys aren't under center a ton. As a lineman, do you feel like you need more reps in training camp to make that a bigger part of the offense? Would you like to have that be a feature with these next few weeks?
Yeah, under center stuff's fun. So when we get the chance to do it, I have a lot of fun with it. We're excited about what we're doing right now, and we're excited about where this offense is headed.
Will Benson got the opportunity today. I guess what have you learned about him on the field off the field?
Yeah, really hard worker. He's a very hard worker. You can tell it's important to him. So he shows up every meeting, every walkthrough, every lift, everything with the right mindset, and really strong player. Just from a physical standpoint, his punching power, things like that. I mean, he's really strong and really technical too. So we're excited about him.
On the other side too, it looks like Josh even gained the strength. Have you noticed that? What have you noticed?
Yeah, just Josh's potential is through the roof, man. If he keeps working the way he is, he's going to be a very talented player in this league. So really excited about him.
I know you guys haven't been in pads yet. So what stands out about Peter Bush?
Yeah, just how dynamic he is. He can beat you in a lot of ways. He can bull rush you, do power moves. He can work hands, finesse moves, all those things. So really excited about the addition of him. And a guy like him learning under Chris, I think, is huge for him. So he's got a ton of talent and a ton of potential. I'm excited to see what he does this season.
Good. How do you feel about dealing with the rain? Consider yourself a mother? Do you have an advantage out in the rain?
No, yeah, I love the rain. It cools me off, so we like it out here. But yeah, as long as it's cool, I like it.
How much can you learn? We always talk to you guys about when you put the pads on. What can you learn about an offensive line without the pads on?
Yeah, I think communication's a big thing right now. Being able to communicate with each other pre-snap, post-snap, all those things. And so far, the guys have been doing a great job with it, and I feel like it's gotten better with each day so far. And just the work ethic and individual drills, all those things, it's in the right direction.
That was Creed Humphrey, whom our YouTube commenters noticed in our graphic that we put up on the YouTube stream. Found a picture of Creed where he strongly resembles one half of the current 580 Sports Talk duo.
You said that to me when you made the graphic
The picture in particular is like the picture that I found of Creed Humphrey. It is uncanny how much he looks like you.
Yeah,
it is.
It's the beard and the chubby face,
the round face. Yeah, no, it's there are worse things people could say about the way you look.
Yeah, if I look like an NFL starting center, then so be it.
He's a little bigger than you. He's one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, I know. I stood right next to him.
We'll take a timeout. We got our What Is Wrong With You July semifinals coming up, and Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for our local sports spotlight. But first, a quick word from my friends at Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon in Fairlawn Plaza here in the capital city. You got to be thinking about an unlimited wash pass as this rain gets out of the area and you want to have a clean car as the summer turns to the fall. Unlimited wash passes for a month, for annually, for family plans, for your car, your SUV, your van, your pickup truck. They've got options that fit your needs, that fit your vehicles, and you will drive off of their property with the best looking shine on the road every single time. They care about what they do. They care about their community because they're owned, they're community owned. They are Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon. Soar with the Eagle. Back after this with What Is Wrong With You? It's time for the July semifinals on What Is Wrong With You. We have 2 stories every day of a month. Then when in the semifinals, we get it down to, well, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, down to 2, down to just 1 monthly champion that will join the fray in our December tournament of failed champions. We have 5 weekly champions. The short week champions match up in a play-in. The early month short week champion, the prison break-in, 3 guys in Memphis who broke into Shelby County Penal Farm and tried to bring in a bunch of contraband with them. They used wire cutters to cut down the fence and try to sneak into the jail with weed, cigs, vapes, meds, cell phones, and more.
Look, you can't break out of the jail, but we're gonna break in the jail.
We got you guys. We're gonna get in. Nobody'll notice these huge duffel bags and the hole we're gonna cut in the barbed wire fence. Bozos. Yesterday's winner and our short week champion for the end of the month. I'm calling it the Run a Flame Bride. It's a bit of a reach, but bear with me. 25-year-old woman in Utah who the day before her wedding set the church on fire. She had not obtained a marriage license, but had lied about doing so. And to cover up her lie and the obvious desire to not get married, she tried to burn down the LDS church in Kaysville, Utah. I don't know if it's the LDS church in Kaysville, Utah. You can assume there's probably more than one in most Utah locations. But, yeah, she improvised the fire with items including a tampon and lit it using lighters she stole from Ace Hardware while there with the groom earlier in the day.
Oh, my God.
I think that story wins. I like Prison Break-In a lot.
Yeah.
But she set the church on fire.
Yeah.
So Run a Flame Bride then takes on the Whizzinator, gentleman who had to take a drug test and knew he was probably going to fail it. So he obtained a Whizzinator, which is a artificial we're all adults here. It's an artificial penis. And he brought the artificial penis and some urine that was not his.
He drove the artificial penis.
Drove it to the courthouse, to the police station.
Yeah.
Which was not a good idea for another reason. He was on a suspended license. So when he was picked up for driving on a suspended license and he had the Whizzinator on his person, he tried to ditch it in the cop car. Just tossed it on the floor of the police car and then tried to claim it wasn't his. That's a good story.
I think that wins.
I don't know, man. She set the church on fire. She didn't want to get married so bad, and she panicked.
Yeah, but this guy didn't want to.
Yeah, that's a panic move to toss your fake unit on the floor of a police car. Yes, that is obviously a panic move. But
then he's dumb enough to drive himself there. Like, that's the part.
This woman...
Like, there's Uber exists.
Yes, but this woman... I'm going to argue for the Run a Flame Bride here. This woman woke up that morning like, I don't have a marriage license. I don't really want to do this. What's my out? I know. Fire. And stole the lighters. Oh, honey, can we make a quick trip to Ace? Just to pick up a couple of things, some decor perhaps? And while I'm there, I'm going to pocket these lighters and steal them so nobody asks me any questions. And I'm going to use it to set the church on fire. We'll put that one to the text line. We're going to let the texters and the YouTube listeners vote on that one. The Whizzinator or the runaway, run-aflame bride. Your vote counts. 785-272-9429 in YouTube, 580 Sports Talk in the live chat. Vote for the Whizzinator or the run-aflame bride to advance. The other semifinal features Can You Arrest Me Now? The gentleman who had his car stolen while he was in the act of burglarizing a Verizon store and called the cops over his car being stolen. The police, having some investigative chops on account of their police, were able to quickly discern that the guy had broken in by the blood on the ground and on his hands and the broken window and arrested him. I don't know if he ever got his car back, but I wouldn't hold out much
Definitely
hope.
on the top of the police list.
I wouldn't hold out much hope. That takes on the story I'm calling Do Not Go In There, which is what you say sometimes after you blow a bathroom up. Well, you also don't want to go into the tank of a porta potty, and this guy in Kansas City did, and was stuck for 8 hours because he dropped his bottle of Mountain Dew in the tank of the Porta-John. 8 hours.
I think that wins.
He said he had climbed into the waste holding tank to retrieve his Mountain Dew. Look, brother, they're what? I mean, I know everything's more expensive.
Like
a bottle of probably
$3.99, $3.39,
$2.69 maybe, depending on where you get it. I would simply spend the money and not spend 8 hours in the tank of a porta potty.
The funniest part was
that would scar me for the rest of my life.
Did you see the guy trying to pick up the porta potty? He's like, "Oh, just a few more minutes."
Yeah.
You're not getting out of there in 5 minutes.
I think that one's going to win.
Yeah.
I think we go with Do Not Go In There. That is our winner of our other semifinal. So that advances to the final. The other choice, well, that's up to you. Do you vote for the Run-A-Flame Bride, the woman who set the church on fire the day before her wedding, the venue for her wedding, because she didn't have the marriage license and pretty clearly didn't want to get married, or the Whizzinator, the guy who drove himself to the drug test he knew he was going to fail, got busted for driving on a suspended license, and then tried to ditch the fake penis on the floor of the cop car? Your vote counts. 785-272-9429 or in the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. We'll tally the votes, but when we come back, we'll talk to Rick Peterson at TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. We are hoping to be joined here shortly by Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight. We are out to Pistol, who typically joins us at 3:35 on Thursdays, but we moved him because we anticipated a longer Royals baseball game, or at least a longer postgame show. That might have been the shortest postgame show of the season this year. Everybody wanted to flee the scene of that crime. Even the Royals radio network folks. Like, you can't be in that big a hurry. The game only took like 2 hours, and what was the official game time? Now I'm curious. As I look that up again, Rick Peterson joins us every Thursday for the local sports spotlight. We discuss all things Shawnee County High School sports and Washburn Ichabods related. And we are looking forward to being joined by Rick Peterson here, we hope, shortly. Still trying to find the game time. That's not as easy to find as I remember it being, at least not in the ESPN box score. Try the MLB box score. One of the quickest games of the year, 2 hours, 23 minutes. And the post-game show took like 30 seconds. Like, nobody wanted to be a part of that post-game show. In case you missed it, the Royals led 3-0 with 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the ninth inning, and they lost 4-3 on a Cody Clemens grand slam on an 0-2 pitch off of Matt Strahm. According to Randy Giserli on X, of the 8 of 16 grand slams in Major League Baseball history with 2 out and the home team down by 3, the ultimate grand slam, if you will, of the 8 for which there is pitch data, that was the first one to come on an 0-2 pitch. So there are the Royals making history again. Matt Strahm's given up 11 home runs in 34 2/3 innings this year. 11 in 34 2/3 innings. That is revolting. We're still looking for Rick Peterson. While we are out to him, text line is open, 785-272-9429, and the YouTube chat, 580 Sports Talk. You can continue to vote on one of our 2 What Is Wrong With You July semifinals. In one corner, you have the Wizinator story. The guy with the fake penis and the dried urine was trying to pass a drug test. He knew he wasn't going to, so that's hence the Wizinator. And he drove himself to said drug test, which was a bad idea because he had a suspended license, and he got arrested for that. And when they put him in the back of the cop car, he had that thing on him, the Wizinator. You know, I keep that thing on me, and just ditched it on the floor of the cop car, and try to play it off like it wasn't his. Not really well thought out. Neither was the other semifinalist, the Run a Flame bride, woman who was accused of setting fire to a Utah church that was set to be her wedding venue the next day. They were preparing for a wedding, and all of a sudden, oh no, fire, everybody get out. And turns out, yes, the bride-to-be, who had not acquired her marriage license, despite the wedding being the next day, and had stolen lighters earlier in the day from a local Ace Hardware in preparation for the crime she was about to commit. She tried to burn down the wedding venue, tried to burn down the church. Again, your vote, 785-272-9429. And on
it's kind of split.
It's a tight vote. So your vote really does count. In the YouTube chat, 1 vote per YouTube viewer, of course. Over on 580 Sports Talk, Sandra says, I just don't want to hear you say Wizinator again. So that's why I'm voting for the bride story.
Wizinator.
I was going to say I can respect that. Clearly you can't, Spencer. Jeez. But looks like we're going to be connected with Rick Peterson of TopSports.news here in just a little bit. He'll join us again for the local sports spotlight. And he does join us now on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Pistol, let's start with MIAA Football Media Days, which was on Monday at the Bill Snead Indoor Athletic Facility at Washburn. had a chance to catch up with the Ichabod contingent, J.C. Heim, Ty Weber, and obviously Coach Zach Watkins. One thing I thought was interesting when I talked to them, Pistol, they all talk about the leadership on this team being really strong, that the foundation of this team's veteran leadership is very strong. And I got to believe that's a major building block that Zach Watkins wants to have his team build a foundation for improvement in 2026 upon.
Well, and he kept talking when we talked to Zach, he kept talking about how much difference a year makes. Now they've done it all, and like you said, they've had a bunch of the same guys that are leading the way, and they've had a full year in this program, and it's just they've done it all now. So year two, Zach is hoping they just feel, to a man, just more comfortable and more ready to make the inroads they need to make.
What does J.C. Heim do for an encore after being second in the country in tackles as a sophomore? Because there's two sides to that, right? Like, if you get a lot of tackles, that's good. You're making a lot of plays. It also means you're on the field a lot. And I'm sure that J.C. Heim wouldn't mind being on the field a little less if the offense is able to do a little more this year.
Well, and that's what we talked about, and that was kind of the point of my story with him. It's just that he'd give up a few tackles, to get a few more wins. And if they get to the point where the guys up front are making more plays up front, and they don't get to JC and the other linebackers, you might not get as many stats, but you're got a better chance of winning football games. And then, they lost 5 games by 7 or fewer points last year. So that's what they're going to try to do is reverse some of those close games.
Ty Weber has had a career that has been marked by adversity, some personal tragedy, and some injury that he has dealt with that has maybe kept him from reaching his fullest potential as a player at Washburn. But now that he's healthy, coming off of last season, going into his senior year, how big can his impact be on that rural offense? It's going to be looking for guys to make an impact in the passing game.
Well, and what he brings to the table, he's just an exceptional leader. That goes back to all his days at Washburn Rural. And then I think he's just the kind of guy that rock solid. He's just going to be rock solid. And if you need him to block, he'll block. If you need him to make some big plays in the passing game, he'll make those. But I think he just is solid across the board. And, that's why he's played since he was a true freshman, as has J.C. Heim.
Talking to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. I love hearing Zach Watkins talk about his program because it's obvious instantly the passion that he has for Washburn football. He cares a lot about that program. He helped it, obviously, immensely as a player. He has invested a lot into it, first as an assistant coach and now entering his second year as a head coach. In talking to Coach Watkins, Pistol, what stands out about the kinds of things that he feels like he's got to do as a coach to be better in year two himself in that role and get guys and get his team climbing up those MIAA standings?
Well, I think the big thing is, and year two, year one, they just kind of throw you in, and you're trying to put a staff together. You're trying to do your recruiting. You're trying to keep the main guys you got. And then I just think that this year, right away, he just feels more comfortable and knows more what he wants to get done. And the thing about him, in my mind, he coaches the same way he played. Very intense, has very high expectations. I think he's a player's coach, but he's not going to be easy on those guys. He's going to have high expectations and he's going to expect them to live up to those.
It always helps when you're trying to build something, as Watkins is at Washburn, to have an identity. And it feels like, and I talked to JC about this on Monday, it feels like the identity of Ichabod football moving forward is going to be about defense. They're going to try and set the tone on that side of the ball. How much do you think that can be helpful with a team that, even though they didn't stack wins at the end of last year and build momentum in that way, though they did win their regular season finale, had an opportunity on defense to start building the identity and start fleshing out what they want Washburn football to be?
Well, we've said it forever, Dan. Defense wins championships, and defense is where it has to start. Offense gets a lot of the publicity and a lot of the headlines sometimes, but if you have a bad defense, it don't matter how many points you score sometimes. You're going to give up more. So I think and of course, Zach's a defensive guy. I mean, he's working mainly on, as a head coach and on the offensive side now, but he's a defensive guy, and I think when they go out on the recruiting trail, they're making sure they get the type of guys that can fit into what the system that they want on that side of the ball.
A couple more questions for Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, joining us here for the local sports spotlight. The players or athletes to watch for the upcoming fall high school sports seasons in Shawnee County starting to go up on TopSports.news. I was looking through the volleyball one the other day, and I got to the bottom, and my reaction was, my goodness, is Shawnee County loaded with volleyball talent. And that's not exactly a revelation given how good a season that teams had last year. Obviously, Hayden State runner-up, Silver Lake State champ, Washburn Rural a run to state. But boy, there's a lot of really outstanding players coming back at all of these programs. Rossville went to state. They've got Nora Burdick back. This is, I'd imagine, as much area volleyball talent returning as maybe we've seen in some time.
Yeah, I'd say as much nucleus-wise, definitely. Maybe we don't have the Brooklyn delay right now, or some of those. But I tell you what, we got some young players like a Brent Anderson, like a Haley Smitline, who'll still only be a junior, that are really, really good. And I think hey, going into the season, if I had to pick, I'd pick Silver Lake to repeat, and I'd pick Hayden to win the 4A title. So just because of what they got back, and my county player of the year, Kylie Haney's back for them, so that's a good place to start. Karis Dieter's really good. So I think they're the team, and they go into the season with a 37-match win streak.
Pretty good way to go into the year. The other thing that stands out is you've got a young woman at Washburn Rural, Hadley Kilgore. Did they let Kevin Bordewick have another one come in as a freshman, impact right away? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think he's expecting that, and he's expecting that in a couple of they got there. He's got some real good basketball players, double sport people that are coming up that are going to be good in volleyball and basketball.
It just keeps churning, that machine under Kevin Bordewick, both those programs at Washburn Rural. Read all about it, TopSports.news. Rick Peterson joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk, as he does every Thursday. Pistol, it's always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We'll take a timeout, come back with a quick wrap-up to this 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Our thanks again to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for joining us for for the local sports spotlight. Typically, we do that in the 3 o'clock hour. We had planned for not much of a 3 o'clock hour. Then we ended up having a whole half hour to come on and vent spleen about that terrible Royals loss.
And how terrible their pitching staff's going to be next year. If they don't invest.
It's a grim outlook. Multiple people have asked, both in the text line and on YouTube today, text from 785 and people on YouTube asking, why don't they just get rid of Matt Strahm and Lucas Erceg? I have to think that with veteran guys with a track record, which Strahm and Erceg are, like Erceg was excellent in 2024. Strahm was an all-star in 2024. Both guys were decent at least last year. They certainly weren't this. So you kind of think even if a guy struggles, maybe you think, okay, if they had a good month, maybe they can be worth something at the trade deadline. I think once the trade deadline comes and goes and nobody's willing to give you anything, there's not much use for keeping Strahm around. His contract's up at the end of the year. I would not be surprised if he were DFA'd at some point if there's another arm in this system the Royals want to get a closer look at over the final 2 months. With Erceg, like, there's a lot of team control there. There's still a big arm. Like, it's not like Strahm where he used to throw 95 and now he's at 92, and that's a pretty big difference, and he's 34, and Father Time kind of kicking his butt right now. Erceg's 31, but still has 98, still has the slider. Like, I think that they're going to try and make things work with Erceg. They shouldn't do those things in the ninth inning of a save situation.
Yeah.
But, no, I think you're going to see – this sounds like a threat. You're going to see more of Lucas Erceg in the final 2 months. Like, they got to get him right. Like, they really do. They have got to get him right. If that's even possible, they have got to get him back to where he can contribute positively. Obviously, he hasn't this year. But the last 2 years he did. And so they got to figure out what's going on there with Erceg. I think they're a little bit more invested in him. Certainly, a Strahm DFA, I think people would enjoy from a cathartic standpoint at this point. The votes are in. It was a tight one, but it is the Whizzinator that defeats the Run of Flame Bride. I got to tell you, listeners, I think you screwed that one up. But it's the Whizzinator advancing to tomorrow's July What Is Wrong With You Championship against Do Not Go In There, or Mountain Doo-Doo, if you'd rather. I'd rather not. We got one more hour, 580 Sports Talk next. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday. Great to be with you. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuy on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC radio app, and on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. However you're enjoying the program, we're just glad that you're enjoying the program. If you miss any of it, it's easy to catch up. Podcast is available on our website, 580WIBW.com. It is available on Spotify, searching 580 Sports Talk. Our video archive is also available, again, on our YouTube channel. The name of that channel is 580 Sports Talk. We are with you until 6 o'clock. Royals already played today. If you missed it, no, don't worry about it. Don't ask. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They lost. All you need to know. The baseball statistician and writer who goes on the internet by Tango Tiger has the graph that, generally speaking, this is without further context. This is just the situation, bottom 9, bases loaded, 2 out, 0-2 count. The chances of the batting team winning the game in the bottom of the 9th, down by 3, with 2 out, the bases loaded, and 0-2 count, the odds of winning, generally speaking, are 7.3%.
Wow.
So Cody Clemens' swing of the bat added 0.927 win probability. You cannot add more win probability than that. It is the highest leverage swing you can possibly make. And if, according to the available data we have, the highest possible gain that we've ever seen. It is the most valuable swing in terms of win probability in a single game that we've ever seen in the history of baseball.
Wow.
So the Royals made some history today. Matt Strahm, you made some history with a middle slider to a hitter that was just laid on your fastball on the 0-1 pitch. Just the stupidest pitch selection you could. I told you not to worry about it, and here I am worrying about it. I should listen to myself more often. Sometimes I wonder if I listen to my own show and the things that come out of my mouth. But anyhow, Royals lost. They'll be back in action tomorrow. Huge series at Coors Field, the corner of 20th and Blake in Denver, Colorado. Royals and Rockies for a 3-game interleague dance. I mentioned that the Royals have the worst 9th-inning ERA in baseball. It went up to 7.5 today. 750.
Jeez.
An even 750. That's their 9th-inning ERA as a team. Well, obviously that's the worst in baseball. The Rockies' ERA in the 9th innings this year, 593. 28th worst. So
Who's the 29th worst?
I think it's the A's. Royals Review has this and other really bad stats if you want to be depressed. It is the Nationals.
Yes.
It is the Nationals. 643 9th inning ERA.
Yeah, they can't find a closer.
So, or a setup man or a 7th inning guy or
it's okay.
It's an
they
ongoing
might have this guy who's injured that he's traded for.
The pitcher from Boston?
Actually, he's a starter.
He's a starter. Yeah, Connolly Early. He's a starter. Well, if it makes you feel any better, the guy you traded to get him instantly had his hand broken by a pitch.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. He was on my fantasy team, man. I was all in on Curtis Meade. Anyway, I had too many Nationals on my team. I had Wood, Abrams, and Meade. I had the right guys to have.
I was going to say, look, you have players that have the best offense in the majors, just the worst pitching.
I'm in a dynasty league and drafted Wood in the minor league portion of the draft. Felt really good about that one when I did it, and it's paid some dividends. I think he's the most valuable fantasy player in our league. Probably in your league, too. He's really good. Steals bases, hits home runs, the whole thing. Anyhow, Royals-Rockies tomorrow, 7:40 first pitch, so pregame at 7 o'clock. We'll be with you until 6. We will not do an hour of overtime tomorrow. We'll just go till 6. We'll just have a regulation.
Our latest text?
Yes. I'm going to oblige our texter from the 620. We're going to put the Royals in the hip pocket.
We're done talking about them for the rest of the show.
Yes. Promise you that. Still to come on the program today. We got 5A Sports Talk headlines. We're going to hear from Clark Hunt, Chairman and CEO of the Chiefs. He spoke earlier today. And just as Mark Donovan had some interesting things, the president of the Chiefs, when he spoke about the new stadium and what have you yesterday, obviously some interesting perspective from the chairman and CEO, Clark Hunt. That always feels more official to me. Like, I understand that teams are clubs and clubs have presidents, but it's always very funny to me to hear the president of the Chiefs or the president of any team. Like, it sounds like something you would make up if you were 5. Well, I'm the quarterback. Well, I'm the coach. Well, I'm the president of the Chiefs. Sounds made up. I know it's not, but it's, I don't know. Maybe that's just the part of my brain that has a young child.
Yeah, I mean, it's always funny to look at, kind of sidetracking off that, but the amount of titles that Jerry Jones has.
Yeah, Jerry Jones is everything, right?
He is the team owner, the team CEO, the team president, and the GM.
And the general manager, yeah.
And probably the director of football operations, if that's the thing.
What's the line? Isn't that the line from Super Troopers? You're like the president, chairman, and CEO of Levi Strauss. Anyhow. Yeah, we're really off track here. Well, like I said, we got headlines. We're going to hear from Clark Hunt. We'll do a little either or over-under coming up this hour as well. I've got a Chiefs one that I think will be interesting on either or over-under coming up in this hour. The text line is open. You may avail yourselves of the text line. We love to hear from you. 785-272-9429. Even when you are criticizing programming decisions, like me saying the words Kansas City Royals. It's not really a programming decision, but you get the idea. Even when you are critical, we love to hear from you. We do. 785-272-9429. You can also...
Yeah, for what it's worth, I'm with our texter from the 620. I don't want to talk about the...
If I go back there, I'll get mad again. That was such a bad... You can't lose that. It should be impossible.
All right, headlines.
Sorry. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. You can interact with us in the chat there as well. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. All right. The biggest story in sports today is happening in the world of international soccer. So we just had the World Cup, right? We just had the World Cup. And over the course of the World Cup, you may have become familiar with a gentleman named Gianni Infantino. John Baby. Literally, his name is literally John Baby. Anyway, John Baby, I'm going to call him John Baby. Gianni Infantino. He is the president. There's that word again. He's the president of FIFA, which is the governing body of world soccer. So you have FIFA, and then you have the governing bodies of each continent, and you have the governing bodies of each nation, and that comprises FIFA soccer. And John Baby is the president. John Baby... I can't do it. I can't do that with straight face. Gianni Infantino has a plan to make even more money on the World Cup. To give you an idea, I believe the World Cup made somewhere in the neighborhood of $11 to $15 billion this last year in the United States. And now Gianni Infantino has a plan to make even more money. He's going to sell the World Cup. He's going to sell the World Cup to private equity. He's going to sell stakes in the World Cup. So here's the way that this is explained. Luis Paez Pumar of Defector wrote a really good explainer of this. FIFA will set up a company, and the name of the company is FIFA Forward Enterprise, and it would handle all the commercial rights to the World Cup. FIFA would remain majority control of that company. And each of the member associations, so there are 211 soccer-playing nations that are members of FIFA. And each member association would get a stake in FIFA Forward worth about $20 million. $20 million is not nothing, right? Like $20 million is what Monster is paying the Big 12, right? Like $20 million, that's a lot of money for your Cabo Verdes, your Curaçaos, Jordan, Uzbekistan, countries like that appearing in the World Cup. Now, 20 million is a drop in the bucket to the United States, Spain, France, Argentina, the countries that win the World Cup or host the World Cup. But $20 million to some of those member nations is a big deal. And crucially, in FIFA, you only need a majority of the member associations to vote yes for something. You just need a simple majority. That's all you need. One association, one vote. So the Marshall Islands vote counts as much as Spain's vote. That's just how it works. So everybody gets a stake, $20 million per nation. You can do the math on 20 million, 211 ways. It's a lot of money. That starts with a B, right? The rest would be sold off to investors. So it's about 21% of the company on a $10 billion infusion for investments. The primary investors are said to be private equity company Thrive Capital. That company is operated by a gentleman named Joshua Kushner. You may not know him. I bet you know his brother, Jared. Bet you know him. I bet you know what family he's married into. Huh. Weird. Weird how that works. Anyhow.
The guy that wanted the trophy.
Yes, the guy who handed out helped John Baby hand out the trophy at the World Cup final. So
buddy.
Anyway, the major players in world soccer are not happy about this. And they are so not happy about the idea of selling off the World Cup that today UEFA, which is the governing body that contains all 55 European soccer-playing countries, has agreed to boycott all FIFA competitions, including the Men's and Women's World Cup, after an emergency meeting resolved to unequivocally reject Infantino's plan to sell stakes in the World Cup to that private equity group. So, you want to have a World Cup without Germany or France or England or Spain, who just won it, or Italy? Nah, just kidding. Italy doesn't make the World Cup anymore. Ha! Italy, you bums. 3 straight World Cups they haven't made. God, bums. Mamma mia. Anyhow, yeah, World Cup without all these nations. Men's World Cup, Women's World Cup, any other FIFA competition, UEFA's out. They're done. They're not going to do it if this plan goes through.
I see why.
A later meeting with the North American soccer governing body, which is known as CONCACAF. That's a catchy acronym that stands for Confederation of North Central American and Caribbean Association Football. CONCACAF. They have said that they also reject the proposal, with the United States Soccer Federation posting on social media that it stands with CONCACAF and its members.
Private equity. Not great.
Every time it gets involved with something, that thing gets worse.
Speaking of thing getting worse, did you see the latest in the world of live golf?
It's another headline.
It is a headline?
That for another day.
Oh.
When
I was just saying they canceled their Players' Championship.
Yes, they did.
Not good.
No, it's not what you want. So Infantino's bet on this was that there would be enough small nations that would see, oh, wow, $20 million. And Infantino would later up the ante and say, hey, what about $40 million? And this is usually how these things work in FIFA, is like you bribe the small countries. And for small countries, that money goes a longer way. And you hand them a fat envelope, and then they vote for you. And like I said, the small nations and the big ones, their vote all counts the same. Everybody has the same vote. And all you need is a simple majority. That's how Infantino has remained president. And look, the entire history of FIFA is based on bribes. Like, that's how they do business. But the UEFA member associations had a virtual meeting. Over 50 of the 55 member associations expressed unanimity in their anger at Infantino's proposals, and the governing body has agreed to boycott all future FIFA competitions until the sell-off plan is abandoned. The next major FIFA competition is the 2027. No, check that. It's September. Poland is due to host the Women's U20 World Cup. Well, if they're not going to participate, are they going to host? You going to have an event? And this is the thing. Like, this sort of feels like college football, because everything is college football, where you have the SEC and the Big Ten can squeeze the NCAA a little bit, but not really, right? Like, the NCAA still has the power.
Yeah.
Like, they can try. The SEC and the Big Ten have tried to flex and squeeze the NCAA to try and wield their power and their influence. But ultimately, the NCAA holds the cards, right? Because they put on the championships. They still hold the cards. FIFA doesn't really hold the cards like that, because, like, you can have an NCAA event without, some of those SEC Big Ten schools. You cannot have a FIFA event without UEFA. just no credibility. You cannot have an event without the European soccer playing countries and the North American ones if they indeed follow suit. This is also thrown into some doubt whether or not Infantino can actually get reelected to run FIFA for the next 4 years. He was running to be reelected as the organization's president, was expected to rather easily win a third term because nobody was running against him. Well, now people are thinking about running against him.
Yeah.
The Asian Football Confederation also not thrilled, saying, quote, FIFA's unilateral actions appear to undermine the very foundations of continental football, and such an initiative will not succeed without the support of all the confederations, which is not the case now. So there's not a bigger sports story than this happening in the world right now, that the future of FIFA international soccer competitions thrown into doubt because Gianni Infantino saw a way to make himself a whole lot richer at the expense of the organization that he runs and try to get private equity involved. So that's the big sports headline today. Let's move on to some more, let's say, continental sports news. Spencer, next headline.
Yes, I will keep it local here. Record-setting Kansas women's basketball forward Jalea Davis has been chosen as the 2026 Children's Mercy Sportswoman of the Year. The Kansas City Sports Commission has announced the award is one of 7 that will be presented at the 2026 Kansas City Sports Awards on August 26th. Davis becomes the second Jayhawk to be named Sportswoman of the Year, joining volleyball standout Cassie Watt, who received the award in 2017. The Sportswoman of the Year is given to a local athlete who is currently participating in amateur, high school, collegiate, or professional sports, while exemplifying all positive aspects of sport and has made demonstrable impact on the Kansas City community. Davis had a great freshman season for the Jayhawks, averaging just about 20 points and 6.5 rebounds per game. She scored 20 or more points 15 times, which ranks 6th in school history for a single season and the 3rd most in Big 12 history by a freshman. She ranked 2nd in the league in scoring during Big 12 play with 21.5 points, while leading the league in shooting during that time at 63.6% from the field. The Overland Park native obviously gets the double recognition of playing for KU, but being from the greater Kansas City area. And the McDonald's All-American heading into KU last year is going to get recognized at the 2026 Kansas City Sports Awards.
Very cool for Jalea Davis. Can't wait to see what she does as a sophomore. Other athletes that will be honored, the Sportsman of the Year will be Keaton Wagler, the lottery pick out of Illinois and Shawnee Mission Northwest alum. Coaches of the Year are the head coach of the Johnson County Community College men's and women's basketball teams, Rand Chappell and Ben Conrad, respectively. Cliff Eilig, the co-principal owner of Sporting KC, is receiving the T-Mobile Legacy Award, and the Spire Community Champion, Jason Sudeikis, listed here as philanthropist, Kansas City native, and Shawnee Mission West alum. And new season of Ted Lasso about to come out.
And actor and producer.
I love that the press tour for the new season of Ted Lasso was like, Jason Sudeikis thought that Ted Lasso only needed 3 seasons and that the show was over. But then he had an epiphany. Yeah, that epiphany was, I owe Olivia Wilde a lot of child support. That was the epiphany. That's why this exists. He had an epiphany. Nah, man, he got divorced. That's what happened here. I had an epiphany. Money can be exchanged for goods and services. That's the epiphany.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not trying to drag Jason Sudeikis too bad, but let's not lie about what this is. Let's not lie about why this exists.
Well, and
they were very, very explicit when the show was first on the air. Yeah, we got 3 seasons of this thing. We're going to wrap up the story season 3.
Well, and then to bring it back even more, they brought it stateside and filmed in the Kansas City area.
They did.
So he could be in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think the first episode of the new season is almost entirely set in Kansas City and was filmed in Kansas City. So that is at least an interesting element of it.
Yeah.
I'm not like dying to watch it, but I'll probably check it out. Like I don't know if there's nothing else on, I can check it out. Let's get some NFL headlines from today. We mentioned there were some players holding in at camps across the league. Well, one of them's gotten paid. Chris Olave and the New Orleans Saints are in agreement on a 4-year contract extension worth up to $132 million, including $90 million guaranteed. Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. Saints have confirmed the extension, but have not disclosed the terms of the deal. It's the biggest contract the Saints have given a wide receiver since Michael Thomas got a record deal, then record contract back in 2019. Olave was on some blood thinners early this year after he developed a blood clot in the final week of the season, but he has been medically cleared to perform and has performed when on the field as one of the best receivers in the league. Had an even 100 catches last year for 1,163 yards and 9 touchdowns. Has 291 receptions for over 3,700 yards and 19 touchdowns in his first 4 NFL seasons, with one of those, 2024, being cut short by a pair of concussions. So Olave got paid.
I'm mad about this because my team traded the draft pick traded them the draft pick in which they selected him, and the Commanders could have had Chris Olave, and they got, who they got in this? Jahan Dotson, who's now on his 3rd team.
That's tough.
3rd team.
That is tough.
Yeah.
One player who is not getting a contract extension is Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield, and I cannot really blame the Buccaneers for this. Like, I think Mayfield is one of those quarterbacks that is, like, hard to walk away from because you're afraid of being worse at quarterback than Baker Mayfield. But he might be the very bottom of that line, right? Like, he was not good in the second half of last season, and the Buccaneers stumbled, and they did not make the playoffs. And he did not get a contract extension. He told the media today in Tampa Bay that he felt, quote, disrespected a little bit, and that he and his agent, quote, were not presented with an offer that was appealing whatsoever. Quote, that's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after thinking you've earned it, said Mayfield. The 31-year-old former number 1 overall pick had an injury-marred 2025, still threw for 3,693 yards, 26 touchdowns, did also have 11 interceptions. He will enter his 4th season as Tampa Bay's starting quarterback and seems likely to be his last unless there's a change of heart in that Tampa Bay front office. And I don't blame them for not wanting to hook their wagon long-term to a 32-year-old quarterback. He'll be 32 by next season, who is like kind of right there on the fringe of like, am I going to win anything of note with this guy? Am I just going to be good enough to win the NFC South? Like, I don't know if I'd want to commit my future to that player either. But Baker Mayfield, contract year, something to keep in mind. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear from Clark Hunt, Chiefs chairman and CEO. He got to go hang out at the World Cup. He's got some stories. Also some thoughts, naturally, on the development of the Chiefs' new stadium and new practice facility. So we'll hear from Clark Hunt. We'll also play a round of either or over-under. Want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429, or in the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. This is 580 Sports Talk. We're back after this. Dan and Spencer, 580 Sports Talk. Got about a half-hour show left today. Got some either or over-under coming up. Listener just floated one we might get to. You're always welcome to submit your own. Whenever we play any kind of game, we're always welcome to submit your own one gotta goes or either or over-unders. 785-272-9429 or the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Clark Hunt, Chiefs Chairman and CEO, his annual training camp press conference took place today, and here's what Clark Hunt had to say. A lot of it obviously had to do with the summer that the city of Kansas City just had and that they just had out at Arrowhead Stadium with the World Cup, but also a look ahead to the next Chiefs Stadium and the conversations and development taking place there. So I think an intriguing look at the future of the Chiefs facilities as part of this as well. Here's Clark Hunt.
Good morning. It's great to see everyone. We're excited to be back in Missouri. Our 16th time out of the last 17 years. I appreciate the fans who came out today and weathered the storm to watch practice. Before I say any more, I want to say a few words about Coach Bieniemy and just how much we're thinking about him and his family, wishing his wife a very speedy recovery. And, when he's back, we'll be delighted to have him back, but we're glad that he's taking the time that he needs with his family right now. We've had a very busy off season. The World Cup was at the top of that list, and just couldn't be prouder of the job that Kansas City did in hosting the World Cup. I thought it was outstanding on every level. We've also announced the architects for our new stadium, Manica, as well as the training facility, Populous. We're delighted to be working with such outstanding firms, two Kansas City-based firms, on those projects. Having said that, it's great to be back here at training camp and thinking about the football season, which is just around the corner. It was fun to see practice this morning and see Patrick moving around and throwing the ball as well as he did. With that, I'll open it up.
What was your favorite part about the World Cup, and what did you see, Kansas City on the biggest stage? What was, the best part that you saw and experienced yourself?
Yeah, I think the best part about World Cups are the fans, both the international fans who come into the cities and spend days celebrating and cheering on their teams, and then watching how they interacted with the fans from Kansas City. As I mentioned, I think Kansas City did an outstanding job on every level. It was a community-wide effort. The entire community really came together to do a great job. And as I traveled around the country during the World Cup, I frequently heard how great a job Kansas City was doing, which obviously should make us all feel very proud.
Clark, how many different cities did you go to games in?
I think 4. Sorry, 5. I went 5, and I did go to the final. Yeah. Well, World Cup finals are special. I've attended 13 of the last 14 World Cups, and I haven't been to all those finals. So when you get a chance to go to the final, it's special. Tremendous matchup between Spain, which was obviously an outstanding team, and Argentina led by Messi. Spain obviously prevailed. They were an amazing team throughout the tournament. My family and I were sitting in a section with a bunch of Argentinian fans, so we learned some new chants.
In regards to the new stadium renderings, once you took a look at those, how close is that to what you envisioned when you began this process and as you've gone through the process?
Yeah. So the conceptual design phase is always fascinating, and we looked at lots of different design concepts from both design firms throughout that process. And I can't really say that I had something in the back of my mind going into it. But we're delighted with where we've ended up. We think it does a great job of recognizing the franchise's past and Arrowhead while combining it with a stadium that's modern, innovative, bold, and something that'll last for decades.
You and your family have always been so forward about how much you love Arrowhead, I guess. How do you feel like you and the family are going to reconcile the next few years as you're maybe saying goodbye to one, but excited about the new?
Yeah, well, I mentioned this back in December. Leaving Arrowhead's not a small decision, and we're going to really cherish these 5 years. It's a special place, and always will have a special place in our heart, and we're going to appreciate every moment in the building. But at the same time, we're equally excited about the new building because we think it's going to be special, and it'll be a place that our fans over time will really come to love.
A lot of the new stadiums are smaller. You announced 70,000 plus. Why was that important?
Yeah, and that's a debate we've had internally. Definitely the trend with new stadiums is to go much smaller. I've always been proud of the capacity of Arrowhead. I think it's one of the things that sets it apart. It's an asset when you get to host AFC Championship games or you get to host World Cup games. So keeping that capacity in the 70,000 level was important to me. We wanted to make sure that we could do that.
Mark, just they mentioned about your guys' pursuit of the future Super Bowl. Just how much of the design and the renderings that we've seen is with that in mind, getting that Super Bowl and having that be a part of that space?
Yeah, as we've gone through the design process, obviously, most importantly, we want to design something that's great for Chiefs football and the Chiefs kingdom. But in the back of our mind on every decision is, okay, how would this facility work for a Super Bowl? How would this facility work for a Final Four? How would this facility work for a future World Cup? We're thinking about all that and trying to incorporate as many features and as much space as you would need to have those type of events.
Can you give your initial reaction to the idea of a translucent roof, and what was it like when you actually saw it visually?
Yeah. So pretty early in the decision process, we decided to go with a fixed roof. And that was for several reasons. First of all, I've been in many retractable roof stadiums, and the roof has never retracted. And if you ask the operators, they'll tell you that they maybe retract the roof for 1 or 2 games during the season. And what I've noticed about those facilities is when they have the roof open, you're not seeing much sky, right? The open part of the roof ends up being very small. Part of the experience of coming to a Chiefs game is enjoying the flyovers that we're so blessed to have with Whiteman Air Force Base so close. And so we wanted to design something that would give our fans the best opportunity to see those flyovers. It's part of the reason why we have glass in both end zones, so our fans can see the planes on approach and after they've flown over. And then we wanted the translucent roof where they would be able to see the flyover as it goes past. So that's how we ended up with that design.
Mark, have you guys made a decision about PSLs? Like, where is that coming?
Yeah, we've not made a decision on that. We're still in the study phase on that. That'll be something that we'll get to next year.
I also talked about the importance of seeing design for the parking lots. How important is that to you?
Yeah, so there were 2 things that we knew had to be part of the new facility. One was we had to have a stadium that was as louder than Arrowhead, and we believe that we've achieved that with this design. I think you maybe heard David Manica talk about hiring acoustical engineers to make sure that the stadium is really, really loud on game day. And then the second thing is we wanted to make sure the tailgating experience is as good or better than we have right now. And we think we're going to be able to achieve that. We have a very large piece of real estate that we're working with, and we think our fans are going to be really excited about the tailgate experience. It's going to be special.
You always provide such good insight on Andy and how he's feeling. I guess what signs maybe inside the building tell you that last year was more of a blip than has become something like that?
Yeah, well, obviously last year was disappointing for all of us, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes injuries happen, and you've got to be able to bounce back. We had a year early in Andy's tenure where we didn't make the playoffs, and it was disappointing. And, there was a lot of concern at the end of that season, and some questions about whether Andy should continue to be the coach of the Chiefs. And fortunately, we made that decision that we thought he had a bright future, and he certainly lived up to that. I just think Andy's a special coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He has an incredible staff. Got to hear from Spags today, who's one of the best in the business. And I'm very optimistic that the team's going to bounce back. But there's a lot that goes into it. It starts here at training camp. It's about getting better every day. You can't think about what happened last year, and you can't look ahead. You've got to be focused on winning the day. That was part of my message to the team last night, is we've got to focus on the present.
How close does the vision for the new practice facility mirror what they have in Frisco and the Star down in Texas? But also, how important is it to be able to deliver a fan experience for that practice facility if you have training camp there similar to what you guys were able to offer up here?
So we've looked at a lot of teams' practice facilities as we've thought about the future design of our new practice facility. And there certainly will be some similarities to what the Cowboys have at the Star or what the Vikings have. Those are two that we've looked at closely. Obviously, every situation is a little bit different based on geography and location of the facility. We think we do have an opportunity to have a mixed-use development around the new practice facility, which would be similar to both the Vikings and the Cowboys. We will design the practice facility so that we're able to host training camp. Having the right amount of space, having parking lots, those are the kind of things you have to think about. Ultimately, the decision on where we have training camp is going to be up to the head coach of the team. I certainly hope it's still Andy at that point, but if it's a new coach, the new coach will have a big say in that as well.
Mark, you've done this before in the past, and I know Brett has always said, hey, I'm looking to add competition. I want to bring in guys, throughout the course of the season. I think you guys have about $4 million left in cap space. Just what are the conversations like in the past about maybe creating more cap space to add players in training camp or right before the season, and have those discussions sort of already begun?
During this offseason, we did a number of things to create cap space so that we could add the players that we've added to the roster. But invariably, as you get close to the season, there are always injuries or perhaps places that you want to get better. And certainly, if we feel like we need to do that, if we need to create some cap space, we'll do that to make sure that we go into the season as strong as we can.
Clark, can you elaborate a bit on what you did say to the team? And Mark made a point of saying that you guys sort of started talking about this season on the plane ride home at the end last season. How have you been handling this and the ability to look forward?
Well, again, I mentioned how disappointing last year was, and it's not something that we've really talked about since. It's in the past, and it's time to move forward. That's certainly Andy's mentality, the entire coach's mentality, something that has been stressed to the team that we're not going to think about last year because it doesn't do us any good. They've studied the film already. They know what didn't go right. Andy's made the adjustments that he feels like he needs to from a scheme standpoint, but also from a personnel standpoint. And we're excited about moving into 26. Can't wait for September 14th to get here.
That was Clark Hunt speaking earlier today at Chiefs camp. What I'm really fascinated by is, okay, you're going to do this translucent roof.
Yeah.
How is that going to potentially affect, like, that early Final Four tip? that first game of the okay, let's say you host Final Four. The first semifinal, that's like a 4:45, 5:45 tip-off. There might be some daylight still that you're contending with there. Does that affect the shooting background? Like, I'm sure they're going to study this stuff. But I do wonder how, like, a clear roof, how's that work for basketball? Like, how's it going to work for a Final Four? How are you going to make that work?
Do they
logistically?
Do they have enough lights in there?
Can you tint?
I was wondering if you could get like a cover.
Just a big tarp for the
essentially, yeah, like a thing that goes in front of your, like if you have one of those moon roofs in your car, that closes it, like something like that to just go straight across the top. I don't know.
They said pretty explicitly, like, retractable roof, not worth it, not worth the expense.
Yeah,
you never really open it. Yeah, you never really open it, so it doesn't make sense to have a retractable
And then
roof.
if you open it and it gets stuck, that's another millions of dollars fixing it.
Yeah.
Like there was one place that had trouble opening or closing it.
Was it Miller Park in Milwaukee? I guess it's not Miller Park anymore.
I think it was the Mercedes-Benz. They had trouble when they were first building it because they made it in the shape of the Mercedes logo.
Yes, they did. Yes, there's a.
What happens when that? Like, how long is that contract for? I wonder.
Good question. Good question. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, play a little either or over under on the other side of this break here on 580 Sports Talk. .549 on 580 Sports Talk, coming down the home stretch of this Thursday edition. That might have been a record for the quickest in and out of a return bed. Wowzers. Is that one that they've sniped us on Spotify?
Quick. Yes, so quick. So I've been getting better with the commercial music and the scroll, and you beat me to it.
So I was quick.
Yes.
So we were all just real anxious to get into either or over under.
I guess. Like I was going back to the page to go click it, and you were already talking.
So I'll start with either or over under today, but I need to do a quick back of the napkin bit of math here.
The one from the text line?
No, this is mine. This is one I came up with. Over under 74 receptions by Chiefs running backs this season.
That's a lot of receptions.
Here's why I came up with that number. Last year, the Chiefs had 64 receptions by running backs. Rashard Smith had 25, Isaiah Pacheco 19, Kareem Hunt 18, Clyde Edwards-Helaire caught 2 passes. In 2024, it was 70 receptions. 28 for Samaje Perine, 23 for Hunt, 12 for Pacheco, who got hurt. 7 for Carson Steele. Remember him?
Steele.
Hope Crocky J as well.
How many did...
in 2023, 89 running back receptions. 44 for Pacheco, 25 for Jet McKinnon, 17 for Clyde, 3 for LaMichael Pirine. So the 3-year average for running back catches on the Chiefs is 74, just over 74. So I'll set that as the either over-under receptions by Chiefs running backs this year. I have the number at 74.
I'm waiting for something here. Oh, okay, we got it. We're just...
You're looking for Kenneth Walker's reception numbers?
So 27, 29, 46, 31 in his 4-year NFL career.
Okay. So that would be, do 133 in 4 years. That's about a 30 out a year average.
Yeah. With that 46 really helping.
Yeah, that 46 is big.
I don't know, man. But will Brashad Smith play a role in this? Maybe. I don't really. Don't really know their second running back. Like, what is he?
Like Emmett Johnson has some ability out of the backfield. Amari DiMercado.
What is he like? I don't really know this guy. That's my big thing.
Well, we know that he was playing for Arizona, so he's probably not like getting the best out of his ability, but 50 receptions in 3 seasons. So your average there is 16 and a half. So 30 odd for Walker. Let's call it 33 for Walker on average. 16 for DiMercado would be 49. Brashard Smith had 25 last year. If his snap load takes a hit.
I'm going to take the under.
You're going to take the under? Yeah, I'm thinking over. I think the screen game's coming back. I think the screen game's going to be huge, especially as a way to keep heat off of Mahomes and let the athletic offensive linemen for the Chiefs do their thing. You have one today?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a yes or no question.
Yeah, either or.
Will Lane Thomas be traded? I'm sorry we said we weren't going to talk Royals anymore, but...
Wow. Yes, he's going to be traded.
Yes.
Okay. He's probably going to be one of the best right-handed bats on the market. There aren't any right-handed hitters out there.
Yeah.
There's nobody like real exciting in that market. So if you want a right-handed hitting outfielder like who's doing his damage against lefties, Lane Thomas is the guy you're going to call on. Yeah, they'll move him. From the text line, from the 785, he's setting the Chiefs over-under at 11.5 wins.
So I did a little back-of-the-napkin math during the break, and I was counting, and I had them at 11 heading into the final week. And I typically, Andy Reid, like if they are in and they are going to make the playoffs,
he'll sit his guys.
So I am going to go under.
Yeah, under feels like a safer bet right now, but like I could feel really stupid if Mahomes goes out and throws 4 touchdown passes against Denver week 1 and looks like Mahomes. And the Chiefs offense is like instantly better. The schedule's favorable, though. Like a healthy Mahomes and that favorable schedule, yeah, they could win 12-13. But right now, I think the smart money's probably on, like, because 11 would be still in that division. 11's a good year.
Yeah.
11's a really good year. So smart money's probably on under there, but you hate shorting Patrick Mahomes even coming off of an injury. We'll take one last time out, come back with a final word here on 580 Sports Talk. Time for the final word on this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, lay it on me. What you got?
Yeah, final word for me, man. Tough ending to the basketball tournament for Jayhawks hoops last night.
Yes.
Down 7 at the half, and then they started the game how they started game 1 against K-State's team last week. They could not find the basket in the third quarter, and that doomed them. They were outscored 14, but man, they were fun to watch the last week and a half.
They really were, and ran into a La Familia team that actually had some shooting.
Yeah.
Like, that was the biggest thing. Like, Kentucky's alumni were much better at actually shooting the basketball. And Kansas just never found, Jayhawks hoops never found that three-point rhythm. It's a shame, but yeah, it was a fun little ride with those guys, and I'd like to see some of them back for next year. Like if Zeke Mayo is back, Jacob Hanna. I think everybody involved would like to see him get another run.
Bill Self said he was the best guy on the team, essentially.
Yeah, I don't think he was wrong. Real quick, final word for me. It was kind of wild to hear Steve Spagnuolo talk about L'Jarius Sneed like it was a son returning to the team. That's the affection that he very clearly has for the veteran defensive back. And if he can be healthy, I think he can help. I just don't know if he can be healthy. Chiefs are going to go as far as they can to finding out. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Spencer Dupuis, I'm Dan Lucero, and this was 580 Sports Talk on WIBW. Good night.